The room was quiet. Too quiet. Not the peaceful kind of quiet. The kind that feels heavy, like the air itself is holding its breath. It was a gray morning in Northern Europe, inside a tall stone university that looked older than most countries. The windows were wide. The walls were cold. The students sat in neat rows, laptops open, pens ready, minds alert. Then it happened. A low laugh broke the silence. Slow, sharp, unkind. It came from a man standing at the front of the room, dressed in a dark coat with silver buttons. His hair was neat, his posture stiff. His eyes, cold and confident. His name was Professor Adrian Faulkner. He was known across campus as brilliant and brutal, a scholar with many awards, a man whose words could lift careers or crush them. That morning, he held up a paper between two fingers, as if it smelled bad. He read the name out loud. Daniel Reyes. The sound of the name echoed in the hall. Daniel felt his chest tighten. He was 22 years old, a Filipino exchange student from a state university in Manila, the first in his family to ever study abroad. Some students glanced at him, others avoided his eyes. Professor Faulkner smiled, but it was not a warm smile. This, he said, tapping the paper, is what happens when students from developing nations try to match European academic standards. A few nervous laughs followed. Daniel froze. Then the professor continued. People like him are passionate, yes. Emotional, creative, perhaps. But analytical? Strategic? Built for deep academic thinking? He paused. Rarely. A sharp breath escaped someone in the back. The professor went on. That is why certain countries remain dependent. They work hard, but they do not think deeply. The room fell into shock. Daniel's ears rang. His hands trembled under the desk. Everyone expected him to lower his head, to shrink, to disappear. But something inside him woke up. Not anger, something stronger. Memory. Daniel did not grow up surrounded by books or quiet study rooms. He grew up in a coastal town in eastern Samar, a place where the sea fed families and storms tested faith. His father, Ramon, fixed fishing nets before sunrise. His mother, Celia, sold rice cakes and hot coffee near the bus terminal. Their home was small, wooden walls, tin roof, but it was loud with laughter and prayer. When Daniel was 13, a super typhoon tore through their town. Roofs flew, trees fell, the ocean swallowed streets. Daniel remembered standing knee-deep in water, holding a plastic bag with his notebooks inside. He remembered his mother shouting over the wind, "Anak, huwag mong bitawan ang mga libro mo. Do not let go of your books." That moment stayed with him forever. They lost furniture, they lost neighbors, but they did not lose hope. Daniel studied by candlelight, borrowed books from teachers, wrote notes on scrap paper. Every night he promised himself one thing: this struggle will mean something. Years passed. He earned a scholarship to a top university in Manila, graduated with honors, won a regional writing contest about disaster survival and community intelligence. That essay crossed borders. It landed on the desk of a European research institute. That was how Daniel ended up in this room. And now, a man who had never seen his hometown, never smelled floodwater or heard prayers during blackouts, was reducing his entire people to a stereotype. Daniel felt his heart pound. The professor raised an eyebrow. "Well," he said, "do you have something to say?" Daniel stood up. His voice was calm, clear. "Steady." "Sir," he said, "may I respond?" Some students held their breath. Professor Faulkner smirked. "Go ahead," he said. "Defend your people." Daniel straightened his back. "Filipinos are not limited," he said. "We are multilingual. We adapt fast. We solve problems in chaos. We rebuild after destruction." The professor stepped closer. "Emotion is not intelligence," Faulkner replied. "Academia is about logic." Then he placed the exam on Daniel's desk. "To test your claim," he said, "you will complete a special research task." The class murmured. "You have 14 days," the professor continued. "Write a full research paper. Present it here. If your work does not rank in the top half of this class, your exchange status will be reviewed. Silence. And future students from your country may not be recommended." The weight hit Daniel all at once. This was no longer about him. This was about every Filipino who would come after. A student whispered, "Just drop the class." Daniel looked the professor in the eye. "I accept," he said. That night, Daniel called home. His mother answered on the second ring. Anak, kamusta ka? He told her everything. The insult, the challenge, the risk. There was a pause. Then she spoke, firm and steady. Hindi ka nag-iisa, she said. You carry all of us with you. His father's voice followed. Anak, gawin mo ang kaya mo. Hindi para patunayan na mas magaling ka, kundi para ipakita ang totoo. Daniel did not sleep that night. He planned. If the professor wanted logic, he would bring logic. If the professor wanted proof, he would bring history, science, and data. Daniel chose a title, Forged Minds, How Survival Shapes Intelligence in Marginalized Societies. For the next 2 weeks, Daniel lived between libraries and cafes. He slept 3 hours a night, drank cheap coffee, read until his eyes burned. He studied ancient Filipino engineers who built rice terraces without machines, seafarers who navigated oceans using stars and waves, communities that organized trade, justice, and leadership long before colonization. He researched cognitive science, adaptive intelligence, problem-solving under pressure. He backed every claim with evidence. A classmate from Poland noticed him one night. You've been here all day, she said. Daniel smiled faintly. This is bigger than a paper, he said. He practiced speaking every night, in front of mirrors, in empty classrooms, on quiet streets. He imagined every possible question. He trained himself to answer without anger, only truth. Finally, presentation day arrived. The room was full. Some students were curious, some skeptical. A few were rooting for him to fail. Professor Faulkner sat at the front, arms crossed. Daniel took a breath. The first slide appeared. A photo of children studying in a flooded classroom. This, Daniel began, is where intelligence takes shape. He spoke of adaptation, of survival, of learning under limits. He showed data on multilingual processing, on crisis decision-making, on community-based problem-solving. The room leaned in. He did not raise his voice. He did not accuse, he explained. Intelligence is not only built in comfort, Daniel said. Sometimes it is forged in hardship. The final slide appeared, redefining intelligence. If resilience, creativity under pressure, empathy, and innovation are not intelligence, he said, then perhaps the definition is incomplete. Silence, then applause. Slow at first, then loud, then standing. Professor Faulkner did not clap. But he did not smile either. 1 week later, the results came out. Daniel ranked first, highest score in the class. The professor called him forward. I was wrong, Faulkner said quietly. Your work challenged my assumptions. He handed Daniel an envelope. Inside was an invitation to a funded research fellowship. Help me learn, the professor said. Daniel nodded. Months later, his research spread. Universities talked, students shared clips. People listened. Daniel returned home. At the airport, his parents waited. His mother held a printed copy of his paper. Para sa atin, Daniel said. That night by the sea, he whispered, they underestimated us. But the waves answered, soft, strong, endless. And somewhere in the world, a new definition of intelligence was being written by those who had survived enough to know what it truly meant.